Hello everyone, welcome to my live stream. My name is Denise Hutchins and I'm broadcasting to you from Studio Mikarts. Our charity of the month is the Vegan Society. All you have to do to help support them is watch my streams and bring your friends because I'll be making a donation at the end of the month based on my unique viewers count. You can also donate directly. We have a little viewer goal of just 10 British pounds there on Twitch, so please consider donating. It's Wednesday, which means it's time to work on some illustration. This piece is so close to done with the watercolor. There's still several steps I want to do after watercolor, but yeah, I think now that I'm looking at this, I remember that the biggest thing that's left over is the nest and the sticks. We did get a lot of nice progress done during the last stream before I took my week-long recharge break, but there's still a lot left to do. When I was holding it up just now, you could really see how the overall effect is a lot better, the shading, but when you look at individual sticks, especially here in the nest, they don't look very 3D. They look really flat, like pieces of paper. So that'll probably be what I focus on today. So let me... Got started a little late today. I've been wondering today if I actually caught a little cold or something. Because I've been sleeping like 10 hours a day for the past 3 days. And actually now that I'm speaking, my throat is all gooky. But it didn't feel messed up until I started speaking. And anyway, I have this headache as well that it's like, I only ever get a headache like this if I have some sort of virus, but I'm still well enough to get some painting done. So give me a second. Let me take some drinks from my former smoothie, now water bottle. Maybe that'll help with my throat too. I've hardly spoken at all today, and now it's time to live stream, which means talking for 2 hours. Okay. So yeah, let's get these sticks on. Oh, I didn't get my palette of paint out. I left the drawer open, but forgot to get the actual palette out. I'm just going to set this to my left. It's so nice, my new setup. I have so much room. Oh, Exie, hello, and thank you. Yay! 18 months streak, that's amazing. It's going to be 2 years before we know it. Thank you so much for subscribing again. How are you? So great to see you. Hope you also had a great week off. Week off from watching my channel. Did you do anything fun since last time I chatted with you? I don't remember if I asked if you're well. I hope you're well. Let's see. I'm going to organize my brushes by size. That helps me a lot. I don't have to do that, but it just helps me. Like, I want a medium size, so I'll reach into the medium of the medium of the pile, the middle of the pile. Okay, so to do these sticks, I'll definitely want to do a small brush for the issue that I pointed out, where the overall shading is much better, but individual sticks aren't really looking like there's any shape to them. I don't know what the term is. Oh, wonderful, wonderful. I'm always so glad to hear it. Yay. Yeah, I'm pretty good, other than, yeah, just feeling like a little bit under the weather. This seems to happen every single time I go out and be among people. But it's not that big of a deal. It just made me super tired. Like, I can't even tell if I actually am sick, but I'm just like super tired. I keep sleeping like 10 hours a day, and then I've got this terrible headache. I took some medicine, so hopefully it'll go away, but... Oh, good. Nice and productive. Nothing unusual. That's the best. Nothing unusual is actually the best, because sometimes even when it's something good that's unusual, it's still disruptive, and then you're like, oh, how do I catch up with my regular stuff? Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it's super weird. I can't tell. Today was the first day that I thought maybe I'm actually sick, because the last couple days I figured it was because I didn't get much sleep. So last weekend, not the whole week, but just the weekend, we went to Portland, Oregon, so it was like an 8-hour drive over with breaks and an 8-hour drive back, and then it's a different time zone, so I didn't get very good sleep. So I thought maybe that was it. Wolf is here too. Hello, Wolf. How are you? So great to see you. Wow, I'm so glad you could join me relatively early on Wednesday. It's happening. It's funny. Yeah, so I thought that maybe I was just dealing with sleep debt, but I got to bed early last night, and I still slept in by like 45 minutes. Like, what the heck? So confusing. But at least I am grateful that if I am sick, it's hardly having an impact on my life. It's just an annoyance. That's all. Like, oh, I can't do my morning workout because I slept in. Okay, so I'm reviving the color that I was using for these dark patches in the branches. I think I'm going to add a little bit more to it because I want to do my usual work light to dark. And these branches are mostly sort of this bleached, bright gray color. But not all of them are, so I'm going to add a little bit more brown to this color. I woke up what was already on the palette, so I'm going to get a bigger brush to wake up some brown paint and mix in. That's another symptom I'm having, and I can't tell. More nose symptoms, and I'm like, well, maybe it's just allergies. It's hard to tell what's going on with me. So be prepared. It'll be a little more sniffly than usual stream. I'll try to keep it to a not annoying level. I just remember in school, I think about when I was in grade school, elementary school, and there'd be someone with a cold or something, and they'd just be sniffing for the 8 hours that you're in class together, sniffing and sniffing, and I'm like in my head, like, just go blow your nose, please. So I always think about that, even today, like, God, how long ago was that? So now, I'm 38 now, so what, 30 years later, I still think about that, and I don't want to annoy other people in the same way. Oh, I'm glad you like it. Big fan of new camera border. Yeah, I tried a couple different things. I'm glad you like it. I had a thicker border, and the first one I made wasn't translucent. You can barely tell, but this border does, I'm trying to put my finger so you can see, but it doesn't make any difference. It really is transparent, though. It's a slight transparency on there, and I made it smaller and also pushed it in, so like how the chat box here is pushed in from the edges. I did the same thing with this, huh? I'm glad you like it. Yeah, it didn't take me very long to realize this needs something to help it look different from the main camera. And it's nice. I can always just keep changing it, keep editing my stream, doing new stuff, learning as I go. That's probably the best thing about streaming to me, because I just figured stuff out. I was like, I don't know. I want to share my art with people. Let's try this. And I did sort of bare bones kind of setup. I didn't have anything on. I mean, all my streams are on YouTube. So if anybody wants to watch some super old streams from me, they're on there. And then, of course, my first days of streaming was I was super nervous. Because it's public speaking. And you can make a mistake, and then you feel bad about it. Of course, I make mistakes all the time now, and I don't feel bad about it, because everybody makes mistakes. But you gotta experience that to grow out of that, I think. Okay, I'm finally done mixing the color. Taking my second to smallest brush, which is a size 2, I think. Yeah, size 2. And I'm going to, let's start over here. Like I always say, I'm left-handed, so if I start from the right-hand side, then I don't risk, or at least I minimize the risk of getting my hand in the paint. in the wet paint. Aw, thank you. That's so kind of you. Thank you, thank you. So actually, thanks to you two's support. You're always giving me good ideas, or yeah, just being here with me, giving me someone to stream for. It's so valuable. I really, really appreciate it. Alright, I realized that although I like the color, I want to add more water, because if I put it down undiluted like this, it'll be too dark. So these sticks are supposed to be a really bright sun-bleached color. Alright, so I added some more water to the palette. Now I think I am actually ready to put some paint on the page. Let's do this. We're trying to give dimension to the individual branches now. We got the overall idea of these branches are, or the overall idea of the nest having shading. So now, moving smaller, show, okay, now the branches also have their own shading. Sometimes, when you get the overall shading done, that's why it's better if you can remember. I don't always remember, but if you can remember to do the overall shading first, you might not even need to do anything after that. So, it's good to start from big to small, because then you can save yourself some time and equipment. Time and art supplies saved. I am so close to done with the paint on this, though. I'm really excited. When I looked at the image when I was getting ready to start this stream, I was like, oh man, I did not realize how close it is. Like, I think if someone didn't know the level that I like to take my pieces to, they might consider it done. It's definitely not done, though. I don't like this flat. I don't like this flat nest. I want it to be a little bit more substantial. So it needs to, let's see, I can't think of the exact word, but so I'll just explain. Everything else is well defined. It has a nice amount of depth shading. So to leave the nest at this level sort of makes it stand out in a not a good way. I want it to fit in with everything else because it has the same level of attention. Same amount of shading, same amount of three-dimensionality. So in here, under these griffins, it should definitely be really dark shading. So that's what I'm adding in. And all of these colors will dry lighter, so I might have to come in and add some more. Yeah, there. I'm doing a couple different things to soften the shading because I don't want it to be a really hard line between the highlighted area and the shaded area, because this is supposed to be round. The sticks are supposed to be round. If you give it a really hard line, then it looks more angular. So the two things I'm doing are dabbing the color away at the edge with my towel, but sometimes that's not precise enough, and so at those times I'm cleaning my brush off, then getting a little bit of water just so it's just damp, so the brush is just damp, and then brushing on the edge of that line where I applied the watercolor, and then that softens it up. So we get a little bit more of a gradient instead of a super hard edge. some sticks I'm going to have to wait to do. For instance, right here, there's this one sticking up, but it's right next to the one going more horizontally that I just painted. So I want to wait so that it won't. If I paint the one that is visually behind this one, the sticky uppy one versus the horizontal one, the shadow color will just blend into both of them, and it'll make it look more like they're just a single item, which I don't want. I want it to be obvious that this is a whole bunch of sticks put together. The great thing with watercolor shading is that watercolor is translucent. That's what makes it watercolor versus gouache. Gouache is it's opaque. So that's the difference. Although now you have acrylic gouache, and so that's yet another difference. But if we're talking about water-based paints, water-based medium, then watercolor is the translucent one. And then that means the colors you put down before will still shine through or show through. So it'll have a tint of brown or a tint of green or whatever you already put down. But you can just make it darker by continually applying other layers. So like here, I'm just painting the whole section, because I feel this whole thing would be more shadowy than the sticks above it. So you can still see everything I've done before on this area, but the whole area is now much darker. And underneath these leaves, it'll be the same thing, a lot darker. There's probably some light coming through, but it's also it's not just to have believable light logic. It's also to help the different elements of the scene stand out enough. So by having extra shading under these leaves can now stand out from the sticks. I'm moving into this back area. I want to paint more over here, but now I have to wait for this stuff to dry. Or I can turn it over. But yeah. I like painting shadows right way up if I can, because it's easier for my brain to be like, well, the light's coming from this direction. But if I have to paint with the image upside down, then my brain has to be like, well, it would be opposite, so it'll be like this. So it's easier on myself if I can just let it dry for a minute and then come back. Oops, I got a little bit on that leaf there. It's another good reason to have a paper towel ready. If you accidentally paint somewhere you didn't want to, you can use the paper towel and remove most of the paint if you notice right away. It's getting better and better. As I'm going to the top of this nest, I think I'm going to lighten up the shadows that I do. I'm not going to do so many really super dark ones. This one is not drying very fast, so I'm just going to dab that away. Ah, that's better. I'm just looking at it and tapping the page to see if it still feels wet, which it does. Over here is probably dry. Yeah. This really far side is dry, so let's work on this section. I'll just do my best not to put my hand over here. Uh-oh! Yay! Thank you! Thank you for redeeming. Do your best animal impersonation, pigeon. Okay. Okay, I'm thinking. I have to channel my inner Kumo. That's my white boy pigeon. He has he's very vocal. Sora is also vocal, but not nearly as much as Kumo. So, okay, here I go. That's my best pigeon. When you listen to that, imagine my neck puffing up and getting all big, and I'm leaning down and I'm showing off, and I'm walking around and my neck's all big and I'm all fluffy and down. That's what Kumo does. Yay, thank you for redeeming that. That's so fun. It's so nice when it's an animal that I am familiar with. Oh, thank you. That was the perfect amount of time to let this dry. Awesome. Yeah, I visualized. I saw my Kumo boy in my head, in my mind's eye. I've seen him before. At least I drew a chibi. He is the white pigeon that I did a chibi last year. That's so reviving. Since I've been feeling so tired recently. I have a lot of practice too, because sometimes when I don't know what you even call that, but people call it cooing, but I don't know. It's like I call it his confident voice. He does it when he's like showing off or trying to tell you what's what because you're doing something and he doesn't want you to do it. Like, especially when I bring them outside to their aviary, when I put them in the pet carrier, he's like, woo! That's his confident noise. He does it when he's showing off for Sora too. Like, my story in my head is that he'll go over to where their nest is, and then he'll do that, and so he does his body all low and flat, and his neck is all huge and fluffy, and he's doing that sound, and then he walks around, and he walks around another way, and I blue, and then I think he's saying, this is a good spot for our nest. I found this great spot. Look at it. That's what I imagine he's doing. He's showing off that he found the excellent nesting spot. And I'm so pleased because they only have the one nesting spot, so I'm glad that he likes it. Or that he seems to like it. So this branch, I'm trying to get both the shadow of the branch up, just the lower side of it, so the branch casting a shadow, its own shadow. But also this leaf is hanging over, so I'm trying to get a little bit of cast shadow from there. What's this little squirrel? Hype popcorn. It's so cute. For this branch, I'm going to put a little water on it along the middle because I want to continue the same idea, but I got to get it all the way across to this other leaf. So I put some water down first, not on the whole thing, just along the middle. And now I'll put the dark paint at the bottom, and it should seep into the wet area while leaving the top alone. Alright. I just realized that I should do a little bit more over on this side of the branch too. So I'm going to do the same thing, add a little water just along the middle, and then add the paint along the bottom. Alright, one last little section. Oops, that's too much water. There. But over here, there's not as much shadow being cast by like this Gryphon or these leaves. So I'm going to dab away a little bit too. Over here, this is one continuous branch all the way across. But here we have this parent Gryphon casting a big shadow on the nest. So that's why over here it's a lot brighter than here, even though it's the same branch. This is also, I think, meant to be the same branch. It's hard to tell. It could be this one. It could be this one or this one. It's hard to tell, but there's these two leaves, the shadow from above, all this other stuff. I think this little triangle should be darker. Okay, so there's just a few more of these larger sticks that don't have any additional shading yet. So just keep working on those. Awesome! I'm glad you're looking forward to it. Yeah, it's hard. I always make my projects really tough and then it takes forever and they're like, oh yeah, this is supposed to be a birthday card. Meanwhile, multiple people's birthdays have passed. Who I know, like, well, they're not getting this card this year. They'll get it next year. Yeah, that's going to be the funnest part, I think, is it. So I'm going to do digital work as well. I always do with these. And then printing it out, seeing the printed version with the digital work included, and then the fun of fold it, see what it looks like just the front, because you can sort of imagine it by covering it up, but it's just not the same as actually seeing it. And I hope that everybody, I just send them to my close friends and family, and I hope they enjoy getting them. It's so tough. I used to do a lot of art presents for people. And I was still at the time wanting to be a professional illustrator, but at the time I was actually working as an IT operator, a computer operator. So I didn't actually have that much time to make artworks, and so when I did do art presents, it would be this huge, like, marathon effort. Like, I remember one year I made these little cat pictures, and they were naturalistic looking cats, but I picked them based on the person they were for. And I made like 30. 30. I was like, oh, 30 little cards this big won't be that hard. No, it took forever. It was so hard. It took so long, and I didn't want to leave anyone out, so I made myself just work and work and work and work. So this is my solution to that. To be able to give folks a unique art present from me, but without the extreme amount of work it would take to make, say, like an illustration like this for each person on my list. That's when you realize, dang, I have too many friends. Because you're like, hey, you can't deal with the not shopping list, with the art present list once you actually tally it up. They're in that physical store also. Yeah, and it's super great. Well, actually, I haven't not proposed putting these in. My postcards are the finished postcards. I actually have only done older ones because I had leftovers back from when I used to order them from a print shop, but then the print shop got way too expensive for the small amount that I order. So I had all these extras from previous, basically Patreon postcards, but also some that I had made separate from that. But I was thinking that these might be welcome in the shop. The only problem is they're still getting going. So I'm not sure if it's worth it to put anything else in there yet, or like wait, like they just barely got a sign on the building and stuff. So maybe it'll wait a little bit for them to get established because they just barely moved into that spot. And they're starting sign-ups for summer classes. They do a lot of art classes for kids and stuff. So hopefully more people will learn about the art shop there. And then maybe it would seem worth it to make some of these cards. I'm just adding some extra shading on this branch in the background. I was thinking of, since they have a heavy focus on classes at that location, on art, community art classes basically. And I was thinking they don't really have anything for inking, and I do Inktober. I don't know if I'm going to do it this year, but I've done it almost every year since like 2016 or something. So I was like, maybe I'll propose a inking art class. But I took what is it called? It's not a class, it's a workshop. It's one of those little, I can't even remember what it's called. It's one of those little 2-hour classes that you can do in college. Or not 2 hour, 2 week. 2 week classes with a very specific focus, and you do, I think it's called a workshop. I did an art teaching workshop, basically. I had to, and the video is actually on my YouTube still. I had to create an art lesson, an art plan. I had to create a lesson video, which I did my how to do the blue pencil transfer with a toner printer to get the blue lines off and just the lines from the black ink. Anyway, that was just 2 weeks of work, and it was so much work. So even though it sounds fun, it would also take a lot. It sounds fun to do an inking class. It would also take a lot away from the other stuff that I want to do. So that's why it's just been sort of percolating in the back of my mind instead of something I've actually taken any serious action on. For instance, the only person related to the shop that I've mentioned that idea to is my sister. And that was it was just like this conversation just now, where I'm just talking about the idea, but also the reasons why I'm not particularly keen to get started immediately or something. Really like this branch right here, especially. Looks really good. It's really popping. It looks like the Gryphon is standing on a thing instead of just being in the picture. I don't know if that makes sense, but I feel like it's this little bit of layer, another layer, another layer. It slowly builds up and starts working. And I feel like these are looking much better defined. It's still a little flat over here. Probably some of that is the leaves. But say these sticks right here have absolutely... Well, maybe there's a tiny bit on this one, but there's hardly anything on them. So let's do a little bit more. Another class I thought of doing is how to live stream your art. How to live stream art making. That would be something that there's like no little local art class about, I figure. And I'd like to, if I did something like that, I'd like to format it so that it would be like for anybody. So if somebody wasn't that familiar with technology, I'd like to do a class that would help them understand, like, okay, this is how this works. These are the programs you need. Here's how to set them up for the most basic settings. Okay, have a safe drive home. Thank you for joining me so far. I really hope to see you again when you get back home. But if not, I hope you have a great day. Safe travels. I think a little bit of the flatness in this area makes sense because of the big overshadowing Gryphon right there. But I also think that the human eye can detect the shape of something even if it is in shadow. Even if there's not huge shadows, there's other things that the eyes can do because we have two eyes. Well, generally people have two eyes, and then that's how you get 3D vision. But this is a flat surface. It's not 3D. So you've got to use lighting to do that work. You have to use light logic to do that work. So I'm adding a little bit more shading even if it wouldn't necessarily be there naturally. I'm just looking for little spots now, like right here. I think a little bit of extra shading under these claws. I really like how it's looking on this one, but these two over here a little bit light, so let's darken that up a bit. Boop. Nice, nice. Now I'm running out of color. It didn't seem like it would happen, but it did. I think it's looking pretty good though. Just keep adding little small bits here and there. And when I do run out of color, I think I might take a break from the nest and then work on these leaves, which I've been leaving until last. Haha, I've been leaving the leaves until last. Because that's probably changing my perception of how the shading is working. by not having them shaded, it's hard to grasp whether I've done enough on the sticks. Just looking around for little spots that seem too flat. Trying to keep in mind all the different things that are affecting the light, different overlaps or shapes. There's a little pet hair on my picture. I can't escape it. That's what happens when you have 2 dogs and a cat and you allow them into your studio. I do try to keep my art in a place where it won't easily be affected by the pets, but the air just moves around and the little furs fly around on it and it gets all over the artwork. I haven't really touched these branches in the very far background of the nest, but I'm pretty happy with how they are as I've been painting everything else, so that's why I haven't really added any more to them. I'm also imagining them being more in light, because here we've got a shadow cast by this very, very close to the viewer Gryphon, you can only see the beak. So I think that helps give a sense of depth to the nest by having the front have more shadow on it and the back have less, because it's just contrast. Alright, let's take a break from the nest, well, from these sticks of the nest, and work on these leaves. And there's all kinds of them. Small ones in the back, closer ones in the front. Most of them are meant to be drying out. A few I think I wanted to do brighter green, but I've got to consider this. I think that I'll keep any bright green colors in the front, because if I do any of these in the back with bright green color, it'll just blend in with the background. Right now it's actually got a nice contrast so you can really see them. Okay, so what color do I want Do I need reference image for these? That probably would be a good idea. So give me a second. I'm going to open my folder of birthday Gryphon references in tabs. Then move tab to new window and drag them all into the new window. And this way, let me move my OBS up. So I'm working on my secondary monitor, which is facing me. So moving OBS and my window with the reference images. There. Now it's set up so I can still see chat and still make sure my stream is coming through on Twitch. Still see OBS, make sure it's going out, but also see my reference images. So what I'm looking for, yeah, and a lot of these nests, the leaves are so dry that they're the same color as the sticks. But I like the idea of there being some fresh leaves, because then maybe it's like they freshened up the nest on purpose because it was a special occasion. That's what I've had in my head, the little storyline about the leaves. So I'm just trying to find a reference that shows the fresh leaves, because I know I saw one. That's where I got the idea from. So first I'm scrolling through. Oh, that's an old nest. Ah, it's this one. So let me open this picture and zoom in. Oh yeah, this is, I'm glad I looked, because these leaves are actually green, yellow, orange, and red. And the sticks coming out, like the branch is red, and then the stem going to the leaf is red, and then the leaves at the very end, so I guess the new growth, I suppose, at the very end is green. Or maybe the new growth's on the other end because it's smaller. Anyway, it's like a rainbow. It's got red, orange, yellow, light green, and then green, bluish green to the other side. So that's cool. Those are some ideas that I can use for these here. And if I did red leaves here, that would really stand out. I don't want it to stand out too much. Just enough so that it is visibly different. But that's an idea. I'm so glad that I looked that up. Okay. Although there's only 7 minutes till break time, I think I might take my break early before starting on a new subject, and then I'll come back and start fresh. So yeah, I'm gonna do that. So I'm gonna take my break early, just little 5-6 minutes break. Put my Be Right Back on here. Boop. I'm gonna go stretch and maybe have a snack. Hope everybody else will do the same. Be back in a bit. Hello everyone, I'm back. My puppies are back. I hope you're back and you had a great break. I had a great break. I just tried roasted chestnuts out of a packet for the first time. It was really weird. First impression was it smells like Vienna sausages. And then the more I ate, the tastier they became. And then I checked if dogs can have chestnuts, and they can have chestnuts. They just can't have horse chestnuts, but people can't have horse chestnuts either, so me and my puppies enjoyed a chestnut snack. Now I'm thirsty, so. Drink some water. Wash down the chestnut snack. Wonder what kind of nutrients are in chestnuts. Probably good stuff. Usually nuts have good nutrients. Okay, now we're going to work on the leaves. Finally, I've been saving them to the very last. Not for any particular reason, but I have. I need more water. There's like chestnuts stuck in my throat. The package said that you could warm them up in the microwave, but I didn't have time for that, so maybe that would have helped with them sticking in my throat. Oh, thank you! Welcome back to you too! Thank you! Oh, I'm so refreshed now. That's a nice snack in my belly. I actually have a great color. I'll pick up my palette and show you. I actually have a tiny little bit of a great color already mixed, but it's way too little. But this is very much like what I'm seeing in the reference image, so I'm going to try to imitate that and just make a bigger patch. It looks like it's just a bunch of yellow and red mixed together. Both of my types of red, it seems, or both of my types of yellow, but maybe both of the reds too, and maybe some brown. It's hard to say. So it's time to experiment and see if I can get that color. Alright, I'm going to actually move this and then put this in the middle in front of me. This will be way easier. And, yeah, let's get a larger brush. A second to largest. I don't know if I'll end up using this large brush again with this smaller palette, because it just doesn't fit in the well. Like, it's literally bigger than the well, so. But we'll use this one. It can pick up more water and more pigment. I'm getting all these other pigments in there, and I'm totally good with that. I love mixing the older colors into the new colors. Who knows how much of a difference it makes, because I don't ever not paint this way, but I feel like it has a sort of, what's the word I'm trying to think of? It sort of brings the whole image together, because there's a little bit of this paint in this area, but also a little bit of this one in this area, even though the main thing was this other third area. Oh, I think the word I was trying to think of is coherent. It makes the image more coherent. What I think I want to do is what that little patch had. A variety of colors not fully mixed, so that I can pull a little bit from the middle, I can pull a little bit from the top, a little from the bottom. Get a little bit more red here, and a little more yellow here, or whatever. Just like these leaves I'm looking at. Even this orange leaf at the very bottom of this string of leaves has a little light green down the center. of the leaf. So yeah, I like that. I don't know if you can see, but we've got a nice rainbow going on. Since I've done that, I want to get a little bit of this cooler yellow, just the cooler yellow, and put it at the top. It's tending toward the green side of yellow. Let's put it up here. There. And swish it together a little bit. Yeah, this is fun. Awesome. Okay, I've got my color. Hold it up a little bit. Looks like flames on a hot rod. Now I'm going to put it over here so I can bring my painting back. Give me a second. I thought that I could handle it, but my dang nose needs a little attention. I'm gonna blow my nose for a second. Okay, I'm back. That's so much better. It's not threatening to drip down. Nice and clear. Oh, yokatta. Alright. Let's paint. What size brush? Maybe this bigger one. The bristles are all sad though. Why are you all sticking out all sad? This might be a little bit too big. But this one seems too small. Let's just go with this one. If it's too big, then we'll switch to a smaller one. And like I did with the sticks, I'm going to start on the right since I'm left-handed so that I won't be painting toward wet stuff. So I think what I'm going to do, since I'm seeing these, some have red, some have green down the middle. I think I'll put light green down the middle on each leaf and then add red or whatever color I want it to be. Actually going to wake up a little bit of light green. Just that vein down the middle. Seems like it should be this green color. No matter what the rest of the leaf color is. So I'm just going to get the leaves wet in the middle part and then add this little green line of green. Whee! Then let that dry, then do the same thing but on the outside parts, adding yellow or orange or whatever the leaf color is going to be, the main leaf color. But I think I'll only do it on these ones that are supposed to be green leaves. The ones that are brown, either they're drawn floppy like this one is drawn very floppy. Other ones I just painted with the same color to show that they're drying out in brown. So that just leaves these three. This is nice too to add a little bit of color. Since I like vibrant colors, I like to be informed by naturalistic colors, but I also like taking it a little bit further and making my world more rainbowy. So I love seeing that the fresh leaves, just in, like, you can see that they've just been sat into this nest. Very vibrant. Naturally vibrant. So it's like the best of both worlds for me. It's naturalistic, but also super rainbow. Oh yeah, this one down here. We'll do this one as well. It's got the slightly more green color. I should have gotten more water while I was out, but I forgot because I was eating all the chestnuts. So my water is gone. Well, if it gets really bad, I'll just step out for a minute. Well, while those are drying, while those green patches are drying, I'll work on these more brown leaves, which I want to look at a different reference for. Or actually, oh, this is perfect. If I scroll down on the same photograph, there's older leaves woven into the nest, and you can really see, this is great. Here's a little patch. Some of these ones that are really in the core and on the very bottom of the nest are just, I can't even describe it. It's like ash white almost. But here's an older bunch of leaves. They're definitely getting to that point, but they still have some green in them and even a little bit of brown from the leaves that were red. So I'll use that because that's more interesting looking. So I guess what I'll do is mix up a little of the light green that I was using for the middle of these leaves that haven't dried out yet. And let's add a tiny, tiny touch of white. Not too much. The white, a little bit goes a long way, so just a teeny tiny bit to dull the color. And maybe a little yellow too. Alright, now that I've added the yellow, I want more white. Boop. There. So here's the color I've mixed. This yellowy, greeny, white color. That lays nicely on top of the brown that's already there, so that it gives it a little bit more vibrancy, but still looks like a dead, dry leaf, which is exactly what I want. Let's dab a little bit away from the top, where it might be a little bit more light touching. A little bit more water, and this leaf underneath I'm not sure if it would be dry or not, but I'm going to give it a slightly different color, just so that it's more clear that this is meant to be 2 leaves right on top of each other, instead of 1 leaf with a weird line in it. Weird unexplained line in it. Okay, now I'm going to put this yellow on the background leaves. Hopefully it's not too much. We'll find out. We'll find out as we go. This brush has a nice sharp tip, so I'm able to paint in these teeny tiny areas just as easily as on these bigger areas. Aw, yay! I'm so glad to hear that. Yeah, I literally am. It's so tough. I am not going to deny that it is tough to work on a project. But I did so many years of starting something and only half finishing, or wanting to do a series and just doing one piece out of it and then I didn't finish it, and I was like, I want to finish something. I want to feel proud of myself when I look at it and not disappointed that I didn't finish the whole thing. So I trained myself for years to grind. I used my MMORPG experience back when I played EverQuest Online Adventures on the PlayStation 2. And also so many fantasy RPGs. Grinding. You gotta grind to get your level up in order to beat the boss and not have any of your people die or whatever. It's the same kind of mentality that I have employed here. So video games do help with your art. Oh, thank you for your kind words. I'm so pleased that you enjoy it as well. I know I've said it before, but live streaming has helped so much with being able to buckle down and actually do this. Because without live streaming, I'm full of excuses. I have so many excuses why I should work on something else. But now that illustration is my live streaming, no excuses. 4 hours a week. Boom. Oh, dang, I didn't. I forgot about it. Hold on. Let me finish this. I'm going to get it up on my phone so I can look at it. I completely forgot. It's because I was so preoccupied with the trip that we took to Portland. I didn't really feel like I got to relax last week, because I had to update the house sitting checklist and pack my stuff, make sure all my laundry was done. I have to do my laundry every week anyway. But hold on, I'm gonna get that up on a tab. So remember, you told me about it. Fallout show. Searching it. Oh, right. Prime Video. Fallout trailer. Wait, why isn't it just show me it? Oh, here we go. Amazon. Oh, season 1. It's not going anywhere. Did it seem like... So it says season 1. Based on one of the greatest video games of all time. Wow, that's 4.5 star rating. Okay. Nice. It's with Prime, so that's awesome. So yeah. Have it up. Yeah, it'll probably have to be a weekend watch. Now I've got that up there. on a tab so that I won't forget about it. So we've been watching, what are we? We just finished The Bad Batch and My Hero Academia, which is my favorite anime series. Started back up with the next season. Oh, I knew that it... Well, I won't say anything. This is a spoiler-free zone, but still. So yeah, that would be a weekend watch show. So I have like 30 minutes to an hour each night to watch something with while eating dinner. I bet my sister would like to watch this. My sister Satuita, who's sometimes here in the chat. I bet she would be interested in this kind of show. Maybe my other sister too, but she never comes to Twitch. And my brother might be interested, but he's in India right now on a work trip. Okay, I think these green leaves are done. So let's start adding some more fun colors from that pretty hot rod style paint patch that I mixed. I'll just work my way down, I think. Work my way across. Although I did yellow, and yellow is brighter, but red is more eye-catching. Okay, I'm going to start with a yellow over here. Oh, wait. Dang it, I scooped up a bunch of color, but I forgot what I wanted to do was get the leaves wet on the outside, but not right in the middle, so that it will retain that green line to be that vein down the middle of the leaf. Oh yeah, Exy, I wanted to ask, since it says Fallout Season 1, if you're able to say without spoilers, does it seem like it's the kind of show that's going to get another season? Just out of curiosity. Just wondering. As sometimes places say Season 1, but it's not particularly because they're intending to make another season, but it's just because that's the default thing that they put. Other places like Disney Plus do stuff like call it a limited series, I think, so that you know, okay, this 6 episodes is all there's gonna be. I'm just tightening it up around the vein, and hopefully that will dry nice and... Yeah, it looks good. Okay, yellow leaf. Got a yellow leaf in here. Oh, okay. It's already renewed. Alright, this one. It's good to get in on it now then. Ah, rumors about filming this September. And you said you don't have to have any knowledge of the game, right? Because I have, like, you know, being friends with gamer people, and I'm a gamer person, but I like more niche games. But I'm familiar with the series, but I haven't played it or anything or seen anyone play it or anything. Not at all. Awesome. Oh, no, right. You said that before. Awesome. Yeah, I like that. Well, yeah, we had this conversation because I was like, oh, that's like Prince of Persia. I just had the same thought again. That watching the movie made me play a Prince of Persia game. And then I was like, oh yeah, this is awesome. And there's that new game coming out, Prince of Persia. But I have so many games. My video game backlog is ridiculous. Like, there's literally decades of games to play. So I'm actually starting to be very, very selective about what games I buy. I've stopped buying Japanese otome games because my collection is so huge, and I only have intermediate Japanese skills, and these are not intermediate reading levels. So I've stopped buying those, and I've only been buying stuff like there was like an indie game recently that looked so good. I really wanted it. But I was like, no, at least finish the A Little to the Left DLC first before you buy another similar calming indie game. Do you also have a massive backlog? It's tough. I think for me, what got me into the habit of buying games before I was ready to play them was when I was a kid. And even now, it still happens. There'll be a really cool game, and you're like, oh man, I want that, but I want to wait. I want to save my money. I have these other games to finish. And then you're ready to play it, and you can't find it anywhere. Or it's like only available for 5 times the MSRP or whatever. Like, you just can't play that game. Ugh. So I started buying games preemptively. Like, I definitely want to play this. I don't want it to sell out and become rare, so I'm going to buy it now. But this gets me into trouble financially, so I'm trying my best to stop that. Finish the games that you got first. That's what I tell myself. So many games I want to play, but too lazy to start. Yeah. You know, the game doesn't hook me, it returns to the list permanently. Yeah, it's so tough. And it's especially disappointing when you have a game and then you're like, oh, I don't even like this game. That's something I've been considering too. My sister gets video games from the library. They have new, like, I mostly play games on Nintendo Switch, and they have new Switch games at the library that you can check out for like 2 weeks. So it's free. And I think that's the way to go. Unless it's like in a series and I know that I'm definitely going to play this one. But getting it from the library gives me time to see if I actually like it, if it's worth spending money on. And then if not, it's just, I just spent some hours playing a game. It's not really any time wasted. Oh yeah, I do remember you were talking about that. Oh, that's sad. You tried to play it 3 times. Aww. I feel like you liked it at first, but it must not have, if you got bored each time, it must not have, the novelty must wore off real quickly or something. I imagine. That's too bad. A different kind of problem that I have with some games is they're too short. And I'm like, what? No! I wanted more! I wanted more of this. 2 examples. One was, I think it was on PlayStation 3? Or, no, I think the first one was on PlayStation 2. And that was Genji. I loved that game. It was so cool. The visuals were so awesome. The fighting system was really fun. The music was incredible. But it was so short that I, who don't have that much time, back then I had more time, but even still didn't have that much time to play, and I still finished it in like a day. What? Why is this game only 5 hours long? And then I was super happy, and this is why I think that one was on PS2, because on PS3, when PS3 came out, this sequel came out, and it was terrible in comparison, and I was so disappointed. I was like, this is not even the same game. What happened? And then another game that I thought was way too short was another little indie, like, relaxing puzzle game, and it has little cats. It's like those slider puzzles where you have to slide stuff to... Originally, it's like you have to get the ball out, and then you slide these blocks, and you can eventually get the ball out. Well, this has a cat, so the cat is trapped, and you have to move the little fences or bricks or whatever so that the cat can get out. And it was so cute and cozy, and it was so short, and I was like, no, I want more of these little cute cat puzzles. I was hoping they'd come out with DLC or something, but yeah, there hasn't been any more for that cute cat game. Aww. That little knife emoji. Aw, yeah. You know what? That's good, though, because at least that's a lesson. And you can't take it back, so you shouldn't beat yourself up over it or anything. Now you know. I've totally done that, though. I totally get that. Trying to get yourself to like it because it was expensive, and you're like, this sucks. And that just makes it suck even more, because on top of the layer of just being unhappy, being disappointed, not enjoying it, then you have like guilt or frustration and fighting with yourself, and there's like all these other negative layers on top. This leaf in the middle I want to do a nice vivid color too, but since it's right next to these two, I'm going to let it dry first. I'm going to let the two outside ones dry first, and then I'll put that. I really like how these are drying though. These two on the side are fairly, yeah, there, thank you camera, fairly dry now. And I'm quite happy. So I got that vein down the middle like I wanted. So the dry leaves, you can't really see that vein as much anymore. So I won't bother with that. I'll just keep adding more layers of color onto them. Oh, is this one dry? Well, let's do this leaf behind first, actually. So it's orangey yellow. Let's make it a little bit more red. This leaf that's underneath this other leaf. Oh, let's add a little bit more red. That's too close of a color. Exie, are there any games you're working on right now? I'm still working on Animal Crossing. I'm gonna be playing that game for so long. I made my own like end game list. Things I want to do. The biggest two things is finish the museum collections and get all the golden tools. And actually, a couple of those are intrinsically linked, because to get the golden, not shovel, the golden fishing rod and the golden net, you have to finish catching all the bugs and fish. But ever since it became May, I've been trying to get my last fish that I need, the giant trevally. And you can only get it off the pier. And so I'm just spending every day of my gaming time digging up clams, making them the fish bait, go to the pier, try to fish up a giant trevally. No giant trevally. I'm stuck trying to get the freaking giant trevally, and I can't get it. It's the last fish I need. It would finish my museum. It would give me the golden fishing rod. Oh, Elden Ring. That's popular. I've heard, who was it? There's other people who I know who are playing that too. What kind of... I think you've told me about it before. Is it like an RPG game? Okay, I got this leaf, and it definitely looks different. Like, you can't see very well. Yeah, it's orange versus yellow. Nice, different colors. So now I'm going to get these leaves in the background. Or not in the background, the ones that are drying. I have this yellow color. I don't know if putting more on is going to make any difference. I think I'm going to add a little blue to it to make it cooler for a shadow color. Hard combat game. Ah, medieval fantasy world. So what, like you're a knight? What are you fighting each other as players, or are there like monsters? Ah, one of those. Well, I guess that's not necessarily boring. Don't you get frustrated? I would lose my mind. I already lose my mind on basic enemies of like Mario games. Like, ah. You get hit 3 times, you die, but you have to hit them 30. That's crazy. But I bet when you achieve that. Oh, you lost one. I was gonna say when you finally achieve that, it's what is the term? Not a relief. An accomplishment? A sense of accomplishment? Maybe that's what I mean. Ah, okay. That's what I was trying to get at. So that's why I couldn't think of the word, because you said it's undescribable. Alright, dang it, I added too much white. The white paint, once you wake it up with a little bit of water, just like grabs onto your brush. I'm trying to get this nice color that shows that it was once green, but it's definitely dried out. And it's also in shadow, so it's a little bit blue. That's what I'm trying to mix. I've sort of got, I guess I'm just going to try it out. I've got this color. It's kind of like a pale green. Let's just see what happens. In order to get a nice even application of paint, I am going to do wet on wet. So get the leaf wet and then apply the paint and let it spread. Ooh, the blue looks so nice. Yay! Well, who knows what the dried effect will look like, but this looks really nice while it's still wet. Just a little bit too much coming out the side of the leaf. There we go. Yeah, I'm excited for the Deadpool Wolverine movie. It's like Deadpool is one of those ones where the level of violence doesn't bother me because it's clearly so ridiculous, like it's meant to be ridiculous, that it's just really funny. And then Wolverine is my favorite X-Men character. So you can have Wolverine claws. You only use that. What? You can have Wolverine claws so it's like a fantasy, medieval fantasy. That's funny. Oh, that would be fun. I remember there's a weapon kind of like that in Dynasty Warriors that the character was really over the top, but the weapon was really cool. But his was like 5 claws just on a thing that he gripped. They didn't like come out of his arm. What kind of enemies are you taking out? Are they like classic fantasy, like dragons and I don't know what else there is. It's just basically dragons. What else? Or is it stuff like ghosts and weird stuff? I don't know. I guess it's dragons and fairies is basically classic British Isles medieval fantasy. As far as enemy stuff, I guess sometimes I've seen, I think in Suikoden there was actually a unicorn enemy. But that just doesn't seem right to me, because unicorns are always meant to be super pure, so why would they be your enemy? I guess if you're playing a bad guy. Oh, it has everything. Soldiers, mages, bears, dragons. Wow. Makes me want to play Eiyuden Chronicle. But I want to finish Animal Crossing. Dang it. I'm putting off all these games because I'm like, I thought I'd finish Animal Crossing last year. I want to finish it, but my sister made a good point last week, which is that you can just set it down and come back to it later. But it feels like I'm so close. It feels like I'm so close to being done. Well, the only thing with adding that blue, it looks really nice, but now it makes it look like the leaves are green. Oh, whatever, that's okay. This one, I think, is ready to get its nice, vibrant paint. Yeah, not really. Like, it depends on how... What is the word? How obsessive you want to be about it. Because I think that probably a big finisher for a lot of people would be getting all of the Nook Miles achievements. Getting all the badges for that. But some of them are so ridiculous, there's no way. I'm not even going to try. It's like make 5,000 furniture items or something. Although I'm actually pretty close. But I'm like not going to go out of my way to grind building furniture just to get a achievement, which the achievement only gets you a title that you use on your passport, which people see when you visit their island. So it's not that great of a reward. So I think for me, with my personal end game, it's mostly getting the classic stuff. Because I played the very first... I've been playing Animal Crossing since the first one that came out in North America, which was the second Animal Crossing game. It was the first one of its type, though. But, well, anyway. Getting golden tools and finishing the museum is a thing from the very beginning. So I think that's why that's my big focus. Because it reminds me of the original game. And the games in between, which I also played. But yeah, like, if you wanted to be really specific about it, you could finish your... Oh, what is it called? Your catalog. Get every single item. And I think there's tens of thousands of items. So you could try to get every single item. Get all the Nook Miles rewards. You could try to get all the different animals to come live on your island. So I think that it's not really something that you could finish unless you wanted to dedicate your life to it. There's so many things. So yeah, that's why I was like, okay, I gotta choose things to aim for. And I actually made a list that I can check off. Otherwise, there really is no end to it. And then also there's the Happy Home Designer DLC. And there's all these things you can do in there, which I haven't even... I've done some of it, but there's a whole bunch of stuff I haven't done in there. And I was like, what am I gonna do? I can't play all these other games. I mean, I can, but... It's hard. It's tough. Gamer problems. How long have I played it? Oh, man, in terms of hours, I don't know. But I've been playing since it first came out. On and off. Like, when it first came out, I played for like 6 months straight, and then the holidays came, so I stopped playing because I was too busy. And then I started school. Or did it come out during school? Never mind, it came out during school. So then the next semester started, so I didn't play then. Anyway, last year I was like, come on, let's finish Animal Crossing. And I thought it would only take a year. Man, I kind of want to look, but I'd have to leave in order to look how many hours. I'm interested. Wait, maybe it tells me. Hold on. Allow me to distract myself for a moment. It might tell you on your Nintendo account, you know? I'm going to ask. Can you look up how many hours you've played a game on your Nintendo Switch? Just asked it. No, not on the Switch, though. Oh, it's ambiguous. I want to know how many hours I played on the Switch, but I want to know how to see it not on the Switch. Ah, well. Yeah, it looks like you have to look at it on the Switch. It has to be hundreds of hours. It has to be at least, I wouldn't be surprised if I don't have over 1,000 hours played on it, because I played almost every single day last year and almost every single day this year. And sometimes it's like big sessions. It's like 6-8 hours of Animal Crossing. Okay, now that I have painted these leaves, I'm seeing something that I want to avoid, which is if I add this same kind of color to these background leaves, it'll look like they're the same. Like, they won't have that sense of distance. So I'm thinking about what I should do. If I should add this blue, but then it makes it more green because it's on yellow. Or if I should just add, I don't know. Maybe I should just leave it. Because it does have a nice amount of contrast right now. From farther away, you can't really tell as much, but when you're looking at it like this, you can see the difference between the background and those leaves, those sort of mid-ground leaves. I don't think they need to stand out a whole bunch, because we've got the foreground, the mid-ground, and the background. So you want the foreground to stand out the most so that it feels closer. And then the mid-ground, you want to sit in the middle of the background. You want to fall into the back and just support everything else. Yeah, so maybe what I'll do, instead of adding too much color to these, I'll just add some shading. So I'll go to a smaller brush. And I'll use this mint green color that I mixed and see if that works as a shadow color. Maybe later, if I remember, I'll just take a little screenshot and post in the Discord how many hours I've put on Animal Crossing. Because now I'm curious. I've been playing it so much, but I don't really check that. Yeah, as I thought, it just makes it look green and blend in with the background more. So I think I gotta get a little bit more blue into this color. Like, it doesn't look terrible, but now it looks very similar to the background green. Oh, 10 minutes. 10 minutes of stream left. Ah! I wasn't looking where I was putting my brush. I put it in a random spot. That's okay, though. Okay, now I've got a sort of ice bluish color. That's my name for it. I don't know if anybody else would call it that, but like a pastel blue. So let's try this one. Actually, let's make the brush a little. No, let's just go to a smaller brush. Yeah. I'm gonna go to my smallest brush. I actually have this even smaller one. Put it over here. Forgot to grab it. Now this is my second smallest. Okay. Some water, get some pigment, and let's try it over here. Just trying to add it to add shadow. Especially nice on these leaves that I have drawn so that you can see the back side of sort of curved. You can see the side, but also the underside. Still blends it in with the background. I think I won't put too much of this on. I'm glad I started really small just to test. So when you're looking at the leaves individually, like really is honing in on the leaf, then it looks good. But when you sort of look at the whole thing, it makes it start disappearing into the background. Which is the opposite of what I hoped to do. But it is giving some nice shadow. A little more definition. showing that this leaf is on top of this leaf, or this leaf is under this stick. I'm just looking over it now. I think I'm actually fine just leaving these back leaves as they are. I'm just trying to see. It's a good thing it's almost quitting time, because I think my eyes are getting tired. My brain is getting tired. I'm not really processing the changes. I do really like this spot right here. I'm very happy with how these leaves now look like there's distance between them. Before they just looked like they were right next to each other. Well, something I can do that I see in the reference images, even on the drier leaves, but they haven't completely dried out, the stick is kind of red. So maybe if I add a little bit of red to the stems, I don't want to do too much because I don't want it to stand out in a bad way. So we'll just do, in fact, not red, I will do this reddish brown that I have. I'm just rinsing out this brush. This is my white ink brush from Chibi Friday 2 weeks ago, and I never rinsed it out, so I'm doing that now. Alright, there's still a little bit of white ink really close to the edge here, but it shouldn't interfere with the painting. Let's just get a little tiny bit of this reddish brown. And let's add a little bit of water, thin it out. Okay. I forgot what I've been painting. Okay, good. It all feels dry. So this is add a little tiny bit. And over here. Five minutes. Of the stream left. Made some really good progress. I say that every time, because it's true every time. Getting myself to sit down for 2 hours is so awesome. I do like that. I do like the effect. Especially on this bunch on the right hand side. Much more interesting. I think more, even if someone didn't know what the leaves are based on, it just lets look a little bit more realistic, because leaves are not necessarily one uniform color. It was much more interesting looking. Still have some time, so I'm going to try putting a little bit of this yellowish brown and spread it out. Just like a little tiny dab, and get some water and spread it out over the leaf. The base color of these leaves in the background is a little bit, it's not that coherent with the other colors. and it can, this yellow color, this yellowish brown can be a bridge between that yellow that the leaves originally were and this new brown stem color. Oh, thank you! Thank you, thank you! This is definitely the part of the painting process where it feels like, oh, I'm almost done. And then there's just like so much to do every time that it feels like you're not making any progress at all. But definitely making progress. Like, there's no doubt in my mind that this will be noticeable progress compared to the last work in progress photo that I took. I'm just taking this color directly from the little, what's the term? It's not a block. Directly from the well, we'll call it that. Directly from the color well. Didn't mix the color. Just taking a little bit, applying it, and getting some water to spread it out, and then let it dry. Oh, less than a minute, so let's call it good. Yay! Another 2 hours in the books. Here's a close-up look. We did not work on the top at all. I don't know why I'm showing that part. We worked exclusively on the bottom, except for this stick in the background. I'll show in a second. Yep, the progress is definitely noticeable. The leaves are so nice now. They're not that flat single color anymore. I love how the red and the green are combining. It looks very similar to the actual real life leaves, I think. And then the background, very background sticks, that branches that these two are sitting on have even better shadows than before. Yay! No idea how many more sessions to go, but we've got to be close to done with the watercolor. So close. Oh, you're welcome. Thank you so much for joining me. So happy to have people to stream with. Okay, let's figure out who we want to raid today. Let's see, open Twitch. Anybody actually on? Hope so. Oh! The person who I recently followed is on. Let's go see her. Her channel is called Casey Snow Art. Alright, I've got to move this stuff around. Okay, move this up here, and move this over here. And then I can pull out my keyboard. Yay, wireless keyboard! There. Turn the small camera so that's still visible. Mouse, where are you? Oh, there's my cursor. I love having the wireless mouse and keyboard. It is the best. Okay, give me a second. Let me open a new tab. New tab with Twitch. And then we're going to raid //raid. Casey, let me make sure I'm spelling it. Snow. Casey Snow Art. I found out the other day that if you spell it wrong in raid, it'll just raid, or if you spell it wrong and it's like a dead channel, but it actually exists, you'll still raid the channel. So I want to make extra sure that I spell it right before I raid, because you can't take it back once you send everybody to the dead channel. Kasey, snow art. Okay. Yay! Okay, let's start the raid. Woo! Raid has been created. The countdown is going. Yay! I'm looking forward to seeing you, Exy. I will be back tomorrow for more illustration. Who knows? Maybe we'll finish. Maybe we will finish the watercolor tomorrow. We'll find out. 2 more hours of illustration tomorrow. Same time as usual. The raid is ready to go, so let's go. Alright, sweet. It looks like the raid worked. So that is it for me if you're still here on my channel or if you're watching the recording later. As I said, I'll be back tomorrow, Thursday, for more illustration work. Hope to see you then. Thank you for watching.